What's up, everybody? Let's talk real briefly about this topic right here.
Was slowing down.
There you go, right here.
Zach, if this guy was slowing down.
There you go.
Zach, is Micah Parsons slowing down?
Okay, so it's interesting that you asked this, and I brought that. We talked
Remember
about
last
it
year
off
what
air.
happened? Remember last year what happened to him?
Yeah.
We got close to December, and I mean, he still has, we could talk about, you could look at the next gen with the get-off times and the things like that, the pressures and stuff, but is it going to be another one of those periods where he's worn down at the end? And are we starting at that?
I will say this, with Parsons, I don't think he's slowing down. I think that he's fitting right into the system. I know we want gaudy numbers every game. I think that Parsons is best used all over the field. And on top of that, this is a game of matchups. So if you can put Parsons on the edge in certain games, then play him at edge. If you can play him in the middle of the field, you can play him in the middle of the field. That's a luxury. That is a blessing. And then we got other guys that can eat. Now, granted, hear me out. I know in the 49ers game, he showed zero across the board. And we were upset at the defense. We were also upset at the offense in that particular game. Outside of that, Parsons been Parsons. He's been a guy that's been a wrecking ball. He's been a guy that can create and generate pressures. He is that guy that will allow other people to eat. I don't want this to become a numbers game because people will only digest the numbers. People will only look at the stats. And you can't have it both ways, right? If this was a game, the Giants was a game that, hey, it didn't mean anything, then lo and behold, let those boys test and try out other things if it didn't mean anything. And I'm speaking sarcastically about that. And to be real with everything, I don't want us to pollute the mind of Parsons, right? I do know that it's like a contract situation. I know he's seeing what Bosa got. I know he saw what TJ Watts got. I know that he understands the payment that an edge rusher is subject to getting paid. And I don't want it to be, hey, we may have won, but, where my numbers at? No. Parsons continued to do his thing and elevate his game. He's unstoppable. Let me repeat. Parsons continued to do his thing and elevate his game. He's unstoppable. Don't fall into the political football trap of, hey, look at my numbers, look at what we're doing. Now, I did say this, and I'm on record for saying this with Parsons. Every year we've been with Parsons, we won 12 or more games, right? On top of that, we had a stretch of November games, whereas 3 games in 15 days is sick, huh? So a law of diminishing rates of return will show up. It will knock at the door and say, hey, what up, homie? And that's naturally, right? So no other player goes through that outside of Cowboy players. And there will always be an obscure type of number that happens out of it. I don't want people to start, whether it's good or bad, right? Because you got 3 games in freaking 12 days or 3 games in 15 days. I think this year it's more like 3 games in 19 days. It's a little bit easier. And then on top of that, this stretch of games, all 3 of these games are like at home. So salute to the schedule makers for that. All I'm saying is, Cowboy Nation, don't fall into the traps of the numbers and everything. I just want to touch a little bit on this topic. And we talked about this a little bit before, that this particular team only win against bad teams, right? We only show up and perform and do great numbers against bad teams. And I get it, right? It's frustrating. But when you start to look back over the NFL, majority of the teams do the same thing. And that statement itself is wrong. Why, Law? Why is that statement wrong? Well, if we only win, and the word only is the word that we're looking at. If we only win against good teams. Well, what happened week 3? What happened against the Cardinals? I guess Oh, my bad. Oh, we only beat up bad teams. Only bad teams. Only bad teams. And we don't win against good teams. So what happened week 3? Huh? If you taking those words and saying, hey, only the Cowboys beat up bad teams. Only the Cowboys put up good numbers against bad teams. Well, I need to give one of my bad teams a call because we're supposed to have been able to win that particular game. So, no, football is an ever-changing sport. It's week to week. It's any given Sunday. These guys got superstars and stars on their team, and you can catch someone on a bad day. Now, the Cowboys, the other 2 losses, the 49ers, they beat the brakes off of us. They looked like if we lined up 10 times, they would have won 10 times in that particular game. Right? Eagles, they were very beatable. One can argue, and I'm not going to take away the Eagles win, but one can argue that in certain stances, in certain situations, we beat ourselves, right? Or the aficionados. I'm not going to bring them up, though. But that's a whole nother story. You lose by 5 points against them. That's the best team in the NFL far as their quote-unquote record. So I don't want you to paint the picture that the Cowboys, well, man, we only win against bad teams. Well, that's a third of the NFL, basically. Or that's the NFL, basically. Because who is to consider a team good or bad? Like I said before, the Rams had a more tough or difficult schedule than the Eagles or the Cowboys, right? They beat the Seattle. They lost to the Cincinnati. I don't know their schedule by heart, but I know the teams that they played. They also played, I believe, the Eagles, and they played the 49ers, and they played us. They had a rough schedule, shoo. Starting off. So what you want them to be? You want them to be undefeated when they play us? And who's determined whether or not that's a good team or a bad team? And they had a slew of injuries and things like that. And when we saw them, we gave them an L. I thought that the Chargers was a really good team. They lost majority of their games by 3 points. So who is to say that that team is a terrible team, good team, bad team? Y'all let me know. Who determines all of that? But back to Micah Parsons. Don't fall into the trap. Continue to play your brand, your game. Don't fall for that crazy okie doke. Oh, man, he's slowing down. No. As long as we get the dub, I don't care if they put Micah Parsons at free safety and everybody else eat. Just be unique, Cowboy Nation. Stop trying to fight for the bag and all of these accolades and rewards and all of that stuff. You get to the big dance, you win that, they will be given to you. Cowboy Nation, post me your thoughts, post me your concerns down below. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Y'all be sure to let me know who determines who is a good team or a bad team. I know we talk about above 500, below 500, but who really determines that? I think you just got to work through the regular season, get to the playoffs, and then work through that. DC for life, not for short. Salute. Peace.